So if you hear someone ask what a video was out of 10, this is what they are asking for. Random things you should know. I'm almost done with this chapter, and then we can move on to creative. But before we do, I still have tons of notes around producing content that I can't really break into their own sections, so I want to rapid fire them here. So you at least hear them once before starting your journey. Do not leave contestants waiting in the sun, ideally waiting in general, for more than 3 hours. For Squid Game, it cost us $500,000, and Boys vs. Girls, it got a lot of people out. Ask James to know more. Spectacles are videos that only the MrBeast channel can do. Not every video should be a spectacle, and we realize these videos are hard, but that's the point. I hate having tons of people on set. If someone is necessary, then that's fine, but if not, kick them off the set or go have them watch from behind a monitor. Create an environment where the contestants also feel natural. I'd rather you be honest with each other than nice to each other. Do not talk down to talent or do anything to make them feel like shit. I need them to be happy and in a good mood, and those boys are special to me. Ideally, most talks with talent go through me, Ali, or Tyler to avoid confusion among them. Me like simple. The simpler the better. Apply with grain of salt. We pivot a lot. Be ready to have everything flipped on its head at a moment's notice. I want money spent to be shown on camera ideally. If you're spending over $10,000 on something and it won't be shown on camera, seriously think about it. Work with intensity. Push outwards, not inwards. Pull all-nighters, weeks before the shoot so you don't have to days before the shoot. If something goes wrong on shoot, always check to see if it can be made into content. If a tree falls over on your car and breaks the 100 vases we needed to give away, that's fucking hilarious, and we should mention it in the video. Feasibility is working to see if the critical components of a video are actually possible. An example would be if I wanted to play hide and seek in the world's largest building. If you did feasibility on this, that basically means you're trying to see if it's possible to get that building. If you do, then we have a video and it should go into production. If you can't, then that's why it was in feasibility, so no one else wasted time. Never do anything that could make us look bad from a PR perspective. We often do renderings of sets to see what they look like beforehand, which is amazing and helps a lot cause I'm very visual and gets the whole team on the same page. When doing these renders though, I want to make sure you know the difference between a previs and a concept. Please do not refer to a render as a previs unless that is actually what we plan on building. If it's just a render for inspiration and is not a building locked, call it a concept. This will greatly help with confusion in my opinion. Many people wave around a concept, but call it a previs, and people see it expecting that to be what's built only to find out later that was a concept, and the actual set is much different. Chapter 3, Creative. We are a creative first production company, because when creative leads the vision of the shoot, the product is always better. So I think it's important you all understand creative. It's what drives everything we do and is the heart of our content. Being creative and understanding what makes good content is like cheat codes when in production, camera, and obviously editing. Let's take production for example. Let's say you are tasked with finding us a castle to live in for 50 hours, and while doing research you find a castle and a number to call for the owner. So you do call, and he answers. Only problem is he says he quit the castle renting business to pursue his dream of building a 100-foot tall Legos catapult. You can obviously tell where I'm going with this. Ideally, you'd recognize that's badass as fuck and try to convince him to let us use it when we do find a castle. This is a bad example because it's so obvious, but if you're doing your job right, you will be doing an absurd amount of calls and data collecting. While trying to complete your prios and prepare for the video, you should always be on the lookout for new things you can bring to your creative team to inspire them. Because just like me, they don't know what they don't know, and you can't just say, I'm in production and I'm not very creative. Because that's literally the equivalent of saying, I suck at what I do. You also need to apply the same mindset when problem solving because many people lose sight of this stuff when in the weeds. If a problem appears, always ask yourself if your new plan is what's best for creative, not just the easiest band-aid. What is the goal of our content? To excite me. The goal of our content is to excite me. That may sound weird to some of you, especially if you're new, but to me it's what's most important. If I'm not excited to get in front of that camera and film the video, it's just simply not going to happen. I'm not fake and I will be authentic. That's partly why the channel does so well. And if I'm not excited by the video, we're fucked. Luckily, I'd say I'm a pretty predictable guy, at least in this regard. What excites me is what I believe will make the audience happy. That's what it always has been and always will be. I'm willing to count to 100,000, bury myself alive, or walk a marathon in the world's largest pairs of shoes if I must. I just want to do what makes me happy and ultimately the viewers happy. This channel is my baby and I've given up my life for it. I'm so emotionally connected to it that it's sad lol. But this is the one thing I will never compromise on. I have zero issues throwing away a multi-million-dollar video if I don't think it's up to my standards and is good for the audience. We must always be improving and innovating. The camera angles need to always get better. The pacing, the story, the jokes, the color, the lighting, the music, the props, The people, our framing, our ideas, literally everything must always be improving and innovating. Because that is what excites me. That's literally what I live for. To see these videos get better and better and ultimately make the viewers happy. What makes good content? This is where things get subjective and my brain is probably going to turn into mush. The problem with what I'm writing here is that good content is limitless. Literally, anything can make good content. Let's take a baby doll, for example. You can see who can throw it the farthest with their left hand out of a group of 5 people. Watching them throw a baby doll with their bad hand and funny sound effects is fucking hilarious. You can also go the opposite route and have 1,000 baby dolls and see how many it takes for someone to throw it in a crib 200 feet away. Or you can see how many baby dolls it would take to break a 2x4 in half. The point I'm trying to convey here is that even something as simple as a baby doll has an infinite amount of ways you can turn it into amazing, original, and funny content. That's one of the secret weapons of MrBeast Productions. We aren't stuck in any old ways of thinking, and you can literally turn anything into content. Good content can be anything, always have an open mind, and never stop innovating. Having said that, this is YouTube and there are constraints. You know the video can't be a minute, so you're obviously going to need a story to hold the viewers, and there are rules to storytelling. Our audience is massive, and because of that, you have to be simple for 50 million people to understand something. It must be simple. Content can be anything, but there is structure and rules that we must mold it into that I want to teach you about. Because virality doesn't just happen. Every frame of our videos will be seen by tens of millions of people. How to measure the success of content. Like I said at the start of this, the metrics you care about in regards to virality are CTR, AVD, and AVP. If you want to know if the contents of a video are good, just look at the AVD and AVP of a video after we upload it. Because based on how long people watch and what percentage of the video they watched, you can clearly see if they enjoyed it. To show this in action below is the retention data for 2 separate videos of almost identical length from the channel. All AVD and AVP data I share will be first day data to make it apples to apples. If you don't know what this means, that's okay, it's mostly in case Mario gets his hands on this. One video has 120 million views and the other only 45 million. Look at these retention numbers and see if you can pick which one got triple the views. The answer is the lower image. People on average watched this video a minute and 38 seconds longer than the other video of the same length. Of course it got triple the views. It's clear as day for YouTube that people like this video much more. For your videos to do well, you must get their AVD and AVP as high as possible. The longer people watch, the better a video will do. This is why I'm such a stickler about every single second of content. Formats. One way to boost retention on a video is to have a good format for the video to follow. Let's use our popular Last to Leave series as an example. These videos have many reasons why they do well, but one in particular is the payoff at the end. You see, once you start watching a Last to Leave, you get invested in the progress and the challenge. You really want to see who leaves the circle last and wins $100,000. Luckily, the winner isn't revealed until the end of the video, so as long as we don't make the video boring as hell, people are very likely to stick around. Until the end. Strong payoffs at the end of videos boost retention. But obviously, Last to Leave isn't our only format. Another example of a format is what I like to call stair-stepping. A good example of this is, I bought the world's largest firework. This video opens with us showing all the fireworks and then lighting a $1 firework, then a $10, then $50, then $375, then $1,000, then $10,000, then we did some content, then $40,000, $100,000, and then the world record. As you get deeper in the video, the stakes get higher. The payoff of the world record is at the end, and it's such a beautiful format that allows you to deviate if you want as long as things progressively get cooler. Another format would be the ones where I get chased like Bounty Hunter, military, and FBI. Just like the Last to Leave challenges, you don't know until the end of the video what the result is. Will they catch me? Will I get away? Got to watch until the end. Throughout the history of this channel, we've been through many formats. A big one back in the day was donating to Twitch streamers, and people loved them. I'd go into random streams and donate $10K to a streamer to see how they'd react. All in all, we did like 12 of them, and when I stopped, people still begged for more, and that's because, like Steve Jobs says, people don't know what they want. The viewer may think they want a format forever, but they don't. They want new and fresh things. This is evident because every channel that rehashes formats for years always dies. This is why I'm constantly ditching formats in exchange for new ones. Ideally, 2 videos from the same format are not back to back. I'd like multiple different videos in between them if possible.